approached with caution. And that was something the council planners, keen to meet their government-set target for new homes, had definitely failed to account for in recent years. At least that's what her mum said, and she read the local paper and cared about these things. A nearby village now had 30 brand-new houses built on its outskirts, almost all of which were far from affordable for local people, despite promises made at the planning stage. The village's new residents, tempted into the area from cities like Hereford, Worcester and Gloucester by the prospect of a larger garden, a garage and an extra bedroom, all had at least 2 cars per household, and the village's narrow, winding roads, 2-class primary school and 2-doctor GP surgery were all struggling to keep up with the surge in numbers. Her mum had been trying and failing to get an appointment with a doctor for 2 weeks now. Apparently you had to log on to the website at 8 a.m. sharp every morning to request an appointment, or you would find yourself... There was a terrible noise, a deafening screech like a banshee, and Connie's thoughts evaporated. Her head whipped left just in time to see a tractor tyre on a collision course with her head. And just as she had when that raging bull had charged at her, she shut her eyes and waited for the impact. "Why don't you look where you're bloody going?" Connie's heart was going like the clappers. A man was shouting at her. She didn't want to look at him, she really didn't. But she knew she was going to have to, or he'd probably tell everyone he knew that she was crazy, and she'd gone through enough of that kind of shit already. She glanced up at the tractor driver. She recognised him immediately as Dean Collins, a ruddy-faced man in his 20s whose dad ran a local farm. He'd been a good few years below her at school, but she remembered a freckly, ginger-haired kid who'd once come to school on dress-up day in a black plastic bin liner with random bits of loo roll stuck on it. He'd been a fly, apparently. No one had said anything mean, though. Not that she remembered anyway, because they all knew that his dad spent most of his time at the Farmer's Arms, and his mum worked 12-hour days as a cleaner to keep him and his brothers fed and her husband in beer. Did he remember her? Probably not. She looked very different now. She hoped he didn't anyway. "Are you deaf?" Connie took a deep breath, shook her head, threw herself against the hedge, and closed her eyes, willing him to start up the engine and move on. She went out walking at this time every day so that she could avoid people. The last thing she wanted to do was engage in a conversation, or a row, or anything, in fact, with another human. All she needed to be happy, she now knew, was a daily walk, comforting TV, and booze. It was her new recipe for unfettered joy, a magic combination she wished she'd discovered years ago. "Fine," he said. She heard the tractor splutter back into life, and the giant tyres begin to turn. She opened her eyes when the sound of the diesel engine began to fade. Dean was heading down the lane at some speed towards a large grassy field where, she suspected, he was going to be making hay. Quite literally, she thought, as the sun shone. The nature of an English summer was such that you never knew when the next deluge was going to come, even during a hot spell like this one. Farmers knew to grasp an opportunity when it presented itself. As Dean disappeared around the corner, Connie inhaled deeply and breathed out to 5 slow beats. She'd learned that trick from a counsellor she'd gone to see to appease her mum. That counsellor had told her that it would slow her heartbeat and calm her down. It did seem to help, particularly at night when she woke up after a nightmare, her mind polluted with screams, locked doors she could not escape through, and fights she would never be able to win. She would lie there with the covers thrown off, the streetlight making her swirly Artex ceiling look like a labyrinth, her heart feeling like a thrashing serpent hunting for prey. But if she counted her breaths, both in and out,